Hi, my name is Deborah Bradseth, and I would like to welcome you to my Photoshop Kickstart for Beginners course. In this lesson, we are going to work on getting comfortable in Photoshop. I'm going to go over a few things, including navigating the interface, opening images, understanding the toolbar, moving objects, and more. So, let's get started. When you open Photoshop, you will probably see a window like this. It may be blank if you've never opened Photoshop before. To start a new file, you can click this blue button over here to open a file. You can use this one here, or on your navigation bar you can hit File, New, or Open. We're going to start with a new document, so we'll do File, New. Here you'll see there's a Recents tab, so if you've created documents in the past, they'll show up in here. Otherwise, you can have saved templates, or there are presets in here as well. I'm going to go back to Recent. I'm going to do Custom. We're just going to do a 5" by 5". If you needed a different measurement, you can click this drop down menu and you'll find the pixels, centimeters, millimeters, all of that. Resolution, we're going to go with 300. Color, we're going to go with RGB. This is for screens. CMYK is used for printing, and grayscale is black and white. You don't need to worry about bitmap or lab color at this time. Background, you can choose the background to start in a certain color. There's white, black, you can choose a color, there's transparent, and then custom. We're just going to go with white. So this is what the document looks like when you first open it. Your settings might be a little bit different than mine. Your toolbar might be double instead of single. This little arrow over here will shrink it or expand it. Your tools on this side might look a little different. Over here I have History, Actions, Properties, Information, Brush Settings, Brushes, Clone, Character, Paragraph, and Glyphs. I have my document custom set up, and I walk you through that in my Intro to Photoshop for Beginners course. So it may look different on your end, but for all intents and purposes, this tutorial will still work for you. Let's start by importing a new image. So we're going to go File, Place Embedded. And then we can navigate to the folder and pick our image that we want to use. And then you'll hit Place. When your image comes in, you may or may not see these little squares around the edges. It's okay if you don't. I'll show you how to turn them on in a moment. When you first insert a picture, this is a good time to resize it if you need it to be a different size. You can grab a corner and it will shrink it that way. You can hold Alt or Control on a Windows, and that will shrink it on all sides equally or expand it. You can also do it from the side, and that will shrink and expand as well. If you go to a corner and move your mouse out slightly, you'll see it turn from arrows to this rotate, and you can click and rotate. You can also hold Shift and it will rotate in 15-degree increments. There is also an angle spot up here, so if you wanted 25 degrees, you could enter it there. I'm going to turn it back to 0. Once you're ready for the image to be placed, you can hit enter on your keyboard or the check mark. Now if you don't see these squares, you can come up to the control bar here and click Show Transform Tools. So your screen might look like this, and if you click it, they'll appear. There's also auto select over here. You can auto select group or layers. I usually leave it on layer. What this does is that you can click around and select specific things. So for this, I can click off anywhere, it'll deselect the image. Now if I click the image, it selects it again. However, if I turn off auto select and click, it keeps the image selected. I have to come down to the layers panel to change my selection. So on this side of the screen, we have all of our different tools that we can use for editing our images. Let's say we want to crop her out of the image so that we can change her background. We're going to make sure our image is selected. Go over to the magic wand tool, and I like to start with select subject, and we'll just see if it does a good job or not. It actually did a pretty good job. Now you can come down to your layers panel, and each item that is in your document is going to be a separate layer. If you come down to this rectangle with a hole in the middle, this is a layer mask, and it allows you to hide parts of your image and then bring them back whenever you need them. So I'm going to click that, and now you'll see that there's black and white. The black is everything that's hidden, and the white is everything that's still shown. Now let's say we want to move her around. We can just click on her and move her. We can resize her. We could add more images. Let's say we wanted to add some text to this document. We could come over here to the text tool, click on it, and you can just click on your document and it'll come up with Latin words. If we just change it to ballerina, for example, now mine is on a color that's really hard to see on the white. So there's this toolbar that pops up, which if it's not popping up for you, that's okay. There's many different ways to access these same settings. You can come over here to character. If this isn't showing, you go up to window and select character. What it'll do is it'll probably pop it out here for you, and then you'll just have to drag and drop into your toolbar over here. So let's change the color. Right here we have a color. You can click on it, and now you can see all the different colors that are available. Since her dress is blue, why don't we go with a blue? And let's say I'm trying to match this blue and it's not quite working. I can come over to the image with my eyedropper and click. And it finds that pixel on your color picker. So we can move it around and pick different colors. Now let's say I don't want it to be as gray as it is. I can come over here, move it, and make it brighter, darker, all the options. Let's say I know exactly what color I want. I know my RGB values. I can enter them in here, or my hex code. I'm just going to pick this color and hit OK. Over here we also have font size. You can pick from their preset numbers, or you can enter in a random number. This is if you have more than one line of text. It is the space between the lines. This is our kerning. So it usually defaults to metrics. If we pick optical, then it does the optimal spacing between the letters. Some fonts you want optical, some you want metrics. I usually just have to test it. I default to optical myself, unless when I choose that it spaces them out strangely. This is our tracking. So you can add more space between the letters. So if we pick 50, it spreads it out more. 100 spreads it out even more. Now we have some text. We have our ballerina image. And we could definitely keep going. But that gives you some basics of using our tools and getting a document started. Normally I would go in and clean up the ballerina a lot more, use items like my brush tool, which would allow me to clean things up. So this is what we'll be working on in the next lesson of understanding layers. I'll see you there.